So Justice League, directed by Zack Snyder with a script by Chris Terrio and Joss Whedon, who was brought in to oversee to direct the reshoots after Zack Snyder had to leave the project for reasons of family tragedy. The story is, we pick up where it was left off. Superman is dead, the world is still in mourning, and the world needs Superman more than ever because there is a super big beastie on their way to Earth, and they're going to beat everybody into submission. And we really need, we need to have Superman.
No, we just need Paddington.
We need Paddington. That's right, to give us a super hard stare.
Yeah.
Come over here, Steppenwolf, and I'll give you a super hard stare. So Bruce Wayne, Diana Prince, Batman, and Wonder Woman, they need a new team. And to get the new team, this will involve travelling to Iceland to recruit Aquaman, who doesn't talk to fish, he talks to the water, and then the water talks to the fish. Cyborg, who's been rebuilt Robocop style following an accident, can't control his mechanical parts. And Flash, a.k.a. Barry Allen, played by Ezra. We need to talk about Kevin Miller, who is there, as far as I can tell, for comic relief.
I know you have abilities. I just don't know what they are.
My special skills include viola, web design, fluent in sign language, Gorilla Sign Language.
Silica-based quartz sand fabric, abrasion resistant, heat resistant.
Yeah, I do competitive ice dancing.
It's what they use on the space shuttle to prevent it from burning up on re-entry.
I do very competitive ice dancing. Whoever you're looking for, it's not me. You're the Batman?
So you're fast.
That feels like an oversimplification.
I'm putting together a team. People with special abilities. You see, I believe enemies are coming.
Stop right there. I'm in.
You are?
Yeah, I need friends.
He's the comic relief. There is the reports are that having done the initial shoot and having looked at the reaction to, on the one hand, BVS Dodge, as no one's calling it, and on the other hand, Wonder Woman, it was decided that when they were doing reshoots, they should get some more levity, some more jokes, some more humour into the film, because that was clearly what audiences wanted. What audiences didn't want was, super dark, super sombre. This is actually nonsense, because, as Wonder Woman and the Dark Knight proved, you can have, the Nolan Dark Knight movies are really dark and they're really great. Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman movie is really colourful and it's really great. The thing about them is that they're both really good films. This is neither dark nor light. It is just absolute rubbish. Before the screening started, there was word, because we'd looked on the internet, and the word said that the film was 2 hours, 50 minutes long. And it was like...
15 or 50?
50, 2 hours, 50 minutes long. And there was and then everyone, no, that's a mistake. It's not 2 hours, 50 minutes long. It's 2 hours long. We can see it on the BBFC site. So for some reason, the internet was reporting that it was 2 hours, 50 minutes long, but it wasn't. There was this huge sigh of relief. Oh, fine, okay, 2 hours, that'll be a breeze. Honestly, watching Justice League was like sitting through the director's cut of Heaven's Gate and then some. It was one of those films in which, the storytelling is storytelling is a phrase I use loosely. This is the kind of film which, by comparison, Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin is a masterclass in coherence, in character development, in razor-sharp storytelling. This is a film which storytelling is all over the place, in which there are too many characters given too little to do, and no reason for us to engage with them whatsoever. It starts with a fight scene, and it pretty much continues with a fight scene in that vein all the way through, stopping occasionally to explain the plot, do a bit of globe-tropping, and to do those flippant asides, many of which look like they have been largely inserted afterwards. The characters all have different character-defining abilities. Well, yeah, except essentially they're all indestructible and they can all fly. You know that line in Toy Story? That's not flying, that's falling with style. Yep. There's a massive amount of falling with style that is, to all intents and purposes, flying. Also, it's a film which does that Kingsman thing. As Kingsman demonstrated, you kill a character and then you bring them back, everyone's indestructible. Once you've overturned death once, that's absolutely fine. More importantly, it suffers from the Michael Bolton problem of where do we go from here? So at the beginning, there's all this stuff about, this threat that they're facing. It's the threatiest threat in the history of threatiness. And this threat above all other threats is particularly threatening. And it's going to require some incredibly ominous, threatening music at all times. And people looking really threatened by this inconceivably threaty threat that's going to happen. It's going to be bigger. And you just go, Yes, it's just Doctor Who, isn't it? It's like this thing when every single episode, I know everything's happened before, but this is worse, and this is going to require. And then what happens? Well, have a punch up and reverse the polarities. That'll probably all be fine in the end. The battle sequences look like outtakes from Lord of the Rings, and I don't mean Lord of the Rings the films. I mean Lord of the Rings the computer games, the early computer game spin-offs, which attempted to bring some of that majesty that Peter Jackson had onto the small screen. Characters spend an awful lot of time standing on things that make you wonder, how did they get there? So there's a shot of Batman standing on top of a massive scaffold, and he's watching something. I'm just thinking, how did he get up there? Wonder Woman is, he flew indestructibly. Wonder Woman is standing on the arms of, Justice holding the sword and the scales. She's up there, and all I could think of is, how'd you get up there? Seriously, how did you get up there? That's how uninvolved I was. All the actors look bored and awkward. Everybody looks like they want to be somewhere else. I mean, Gal Gadot is easily the best thing in the film. But what you realise is that when you put her in the context of a film like this, it shows you how much Wonder Woman was to do with the filmmaking, with the direction, with the writing, with everything. It's not just that Gal Gadot makes a good Wonder Woman. There is one character in the film whose acting is so wooden that I literally spent a sizable proportion of the film wondering whether they weren't, in fact, a CGI replacement. And I'm pretty certain that they weren't. But it was, it was like watching, a movie entirely populated by Princess Leia and Grand Moff Tarkin from the recent Star Wars films that people brought back by the miracle of CG. Then we get the end credit sequences, and I don't want to spoil any of this. I will say that there are 2 end credit sequences. One of them involves more jokes, and the other one, for which I waited till the end of the film. As I was watching the film, I thought, well, at least one really annoying character hasn't come back, so that's good news. And then at the end of the end of the end of the end, they came back. So it was like literally just before the film finally said, Auf Wiedersehen, I've wasted enough of your time. I shan't be troubling you any longer. The one person that I was glad wasn't in the film was in the film.
Was it Jar Jar Binks?
It was Jar Jar Binks. It is really shoddy and really ill-conceived, spectacularly messy, thunderously boring, and an absolute demonstration of that idea that more is less. Just give me a character that I can care about. You remember when we talked about Man of Steel? Whole thing is that all the interesting stuff in Man of Steel is front loaded when it's about Superman's vulnerabilities. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The minute that a superhero film stops being about those things, it ceases to be interesting. And as I said, it's a world of indestructo, flyy people hitting each other whilst looking doomy, while the threatiest threat of threatiness threatens
Is it
them.
a world of dread and fear?
It is a world of dread and
With
fear.
a clanging chime of doom.
It is, yeah. And is there snow? I can't remember.
Well, there won't be any snow in Africa this Christmas.